Welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. So today I have an older release. This one came out August of 2017, so it's been quite a while. And it's a goofy Xeon amphibious mobile suit, which those are always fun. This is the MSM-03 Gog version anime. Now the Gog was developed to be obviously an underwater use mobile suit. It has torpedoes, scattering megaparticle cannons, and it is extremely heavily armored and is quite fast underwater. It is a weird design, which is typical of Mobile Suit Gundam era Xeon amphibious mobile suits, but you know, it's now become a classic design just because it's been around for so long. So there's the Gog there. You have some things that it can do with the figure. There's the bottom of the box art, and then just like a lot of the other Mobile Suit Gundam figures, you have a recreation of a scene from the show and some of the features of the Gog. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and take a look at it. So the Gog actually appeared in the MSIA line back when it was released in both North America and Asia, and it was a decent figure. It didn't come with anything in terms of accessories, but it did what the Gog needed to do. It had a good articulation for the time period, and it basically looked like the anime version. So they did really good on it back then, but I'm happy to see that it has been updated. Starting off with the head here, it looks down a little bit. Actually, it looks up quite a bit. And then you have a little bit of side to side, not much. The top of the head can be removed, and the mono eye can be upward or side to side about that far. So you have a decent range of movement. You do have on the head a few hard point connections here, and then one at the top of the head. And looks like it works pretty well. Moves around. You have two different points of articulation in the chest. You have moves around at the top and then at the bottom. You can lean forward about that far, lean back about that far, and then you can do quite a bit of side to side. It will go all the way around, but it seems to get stuck. But you can definitely go to the side. You have the torpedo launchers here. They look like little doors that seal off. And then you have the two megaparticle cannons, which are effect part compatible. Down here you have three thrusters, which are effect part compatible as well. And along the back here you have where the backpack connects. So this is the backpack here. You have two ball jointed thrusters that are effect part compatible, and it just snaps right into place. Pretty easy. It looks like there's a hatch here. This actually pops off. It is quite difficult. There we go. And that is where the stand would connect if you use the Time Machine Act 5 stand or any of the other compatible ones. There is no chest flex to speak of, but the shoulder joints do come forward and backward. The shoulder armor is just kind of hinged in there. You have ball joints in the arms. You have a rotating, or a hinge joint, I'm sorry. It doesn't rotate up here. It's just a hinge that moves back and forth. And same with the elbow articulation. So it'll come up quite a bit. The hands do rotate, and then they have a hinge joint as well, so quite a bit of movement. You do have a hard point in the hand, and then the arms will come out about that far. So you have a good range of motion there. It's a different style of articulation than what the MSIA used, but I think it visually looks better. You don't have individual moving fingers on the Gog, but that also allows for the hand to, again, visually look better instead of having a pin through here and all the fingers moving. Down in the legs, you have ball jointed hips. You do have a bit of rotation. Obviously these are removable. You do have a bit of rotation in the joint here. They don't come out hardly at all just because of the armor. And you have knee articulation, which is actually pretty good. As you saw, the kneecap can come off for some reason. And then with the feet, there's not a lot of articulation going this way, but as you can see, it can come the opposite direction quite far. You can get a little bit of articulation going there. It'll come down and then forward, so you have the joint up here and then one down at the bottom. It is effect part compatible in 3 different spots here. I don't really know why you'd put a thruster effect there, because it's not a thruster, but anyway, that is the Gogg's articulation and features. So now we can check out what this big beastly looking thing comes with. So firstly here you do get a couple sets of hands. You have some different styled posing hands here. So they are more of a claw shape to them. They do not have that hard point in the hands, but they look good. They attach just like normal. You have a more aggressive claw look to these, so really nice looking. And then these last ones here are actually ones that the MSIA did not have. So when the Gog is in its underwater mode, the hands actually fold in to the shoulders, so you can remove the arm completely, and from there the hand, this piece here, will peg in up there, and hypothetically it'll sit like that. So when it's in its underwater cruising mode, everything's folded up and you have one for each set there. So that's pretty cool. And you also get these little pieces, which actually will plug into the front of the mega particle cannons, and these hold explosion effects, so you can make it look like the Gog has been shot in the chest, and you get 2 of these, which is pretty nice. So the next couple accessories are actually for the Gundam and not for the Gog. The first, probably most boring one, is a ball jointed shield handle. So the Gundam comes with a pegged shield handle, but this is an optional ball jointed one. Why does it come with the Gog? I don't know. And we also have the Hyper Hammer, which the chain is still in its plastic. You have the handle here, and then you have the actual hammer itself right here, and it is effect part compatible with thrusters. The big difference between the Gundam hammer and the Hyper Hammer is the Hyper Hammer has larger spikes, and it has the thrusters on it. It is most effective in space, but can be used on the ground as well. And it was used against the Gog in the, I believe it was at Belfast it was used. But this is a bit bigger than what the Hyper Hammer is supposed to be. However, it is animation accurate, as it was depicted larger than normal. So we do have this, and then we have a little piece here. If I can get this out of here. Whoa, I just sent it flying. And basically what this little tiny peg is, it's so tiny I can't hold on to it, one side will fit into one of the thruster connections there, and then this actually pegs into the Gog's hand, allowing him to hold it. Because in the animation, the Gog caught the Hyper Hammer in its hands when it was thrown at him. So pretty cool that we get that. We also have a vehicle. This is one of the few version anime figures that comes with a vehicle. This is the Vulcan armored truck. So it has a massive effect part compatible Vulcan on it. It does not move in any way. It is just one single piece, and pretty sure this thing would fall over as soon as it fires, but it's Mobile Suit Gundam. They can do whatever they want. So pretty cool that we get a little vehicle. And then for effect parts, you have a beam saber effect, and the way this works is the Gog actually has a removable eye. And so this thing will plug into the eye, or where it was, and then you plug the beam saber handle into here to replicate the Gog getting stabbed in the eye from the anime, because that's how Amuro took it down. And then you also have two mega particle cannon effect parts, which just fit in right like that. They kind of have that spread effect, which is animation accurate, and they look really, really good. So that is everything for the Gog. So just to do something a little different, we have the Gundam in full armor Gundam colors, and you can see we're using the ball jointed shield connection there, or shield handle rather, and we have the stabbing effect as well as the Gog holding the hyper hammer. So everything seems to work just fine. The only thing that's not pictured in here is the explosion effect, clear connections for the middle of the chest, as well as the mega particle cannon effect parts. But everything works perfectly fine, and the stabbing effect, it's a little convoluted to get it posed correctly, but once you get it, it works just fine. And for those of you interested, the stuff that comes out of the top of the Gog's head, I looked it up, it's called Freezy Yard. It's been called a couple different things throughout the years, but now it's Freezy Yard, which sounds hilarious, but that's what they call it. So now we'll move on to a comparison with the Hy-Gogg. So here we have the Gog with its late war improvement, the Hy-Gogg. And as you can see, the idea of them is similar. The design is completely different. They look like two completely different mobile suits, even though they're basically brothers. So the Gog, as you can see, has more of a traditional look to it. It does have long arms, but they're not hitting the ground like the Hy-Gogg. It has more normal looking legs, and actually has a separate head from its torso. And then the Hy-Gogg is shorter, a bit more stout, which turns into being more streamlined for underwater use, and is more customized for underwater combat versus the Gog itself. Now, while the Gog is very good at it, the Hy-Gogg has more versatility. So these are the two figures. You still have the torpedo launchers in the chest. The mega particle cannons have been moved to the hands on the Hy-Gogg, but you could tell two different people designed these in two different eras of time. So pretty neat overall. I like both these figures. I do like the Hy-Gogg a bit better than the Gog. One thing to note with the Hy-Gogg, let me grab it over here. These pieces, be very careful with them. They are very fragile. This piece snapped without even me hardly moving it. I was just removing it from the effect part, and it completely broke off right here. So do be careful with this on the Hy-Gogg figure. Kind of a little update, but other than that, it's a really nice figure. So the Gog is an interesting mobile suit. It was made by Zimad Company for aquatic use, and it also appeared in 8th MS Team very briefly, and in Double Zeta Gundam, which I forgot to mention at the beginning of the review. And it's a very well-known design within the Zeon Aquatic MS. It retailed in 2017 for about $48 and change before shipping and taxes. I picked this one up secondhand for $50 shipped, which I think is a good price. I probably wouldn't pay more than $60 for this. However, it's a good figure. It comes with everything it needs. You can do the underwater mode for the Gog for the first time. It comes with a really cool vehicle and a bunch of effect parts and stuff for your Gundam figure, which you should definitely have at least one Gundam figure for version anime. So it is a nice looking figure, very sturdy. There's a lot of great poses you can do with it. The ability to put like explosion effects on the head and the chest are nice. This little piece is what you would use for the chest once again, and it's pretty cool. So let me know what you think about it. I know it's a pretty old release, but I figured I'd do a review of it, and let me know if you have it or if you're trying to find it. Thank you for watching the review. Thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll see you next time.